This industry needs to grow as fast as the computing industry, as fast as the solar industry ever did, and fundamentally we're taking invisible gas out of the sky.
We should get to 2 billion tons by 2030 and 10-ish billion by 2050, maybe even more than that.
The scale up for that is, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need to figure it out.
It takes 1 to 2 years to churn out a facility, no matter how small, and if they're larger ones, possibly even longer. So this industry is going to have to pick up its socks really quickly.
Whichever engineered pathway you look at today, the levelized cost is too expensive for most, and I'm talking about the bulk of the economy, to afford.
And what we need now urgently is to reduce the cost of this technology to make them more efficient.
So we really have a deep obligation to innovate, to get the levelized cost down and increase affordability and therefore scale up in adoption.
On one side, we need to deploy what exists today and what works today, so we can kickstart the learning curves to lower the cost of these technologies and eventually make them to the point where they become boring, like wind power or solar power, where it's just about deploying something that works. But in parallel, we should not stop innovating and developing the next generation approaches, which can get this energy spent, this cost, this performance to the next level.
Companies are coming together to approach hybrid solutions in ways that we haven't seen before. We're seeing a lot of teams focus on modularity, cost reduction, new materials, and really thinking about how to make their systems run more efficiently, how to deploy them in new locations where they've never done that before.
What I'm seeing open up are entrepreneurs seeing carbon removal as a real opportunity, and they're bringing any solution they can imagine to play.
So altogether, we're seeing kind of a perfect combination of a lot of new ideas that will be demonstrated for the first time next year.
In our accelerator, founders are bringing their best now that the carbon removal market is really emerging.
But the next key step is to get as many of those demonstrations out into the field, running and operating, so we can learn from that and we can collect data and we can figure out which of those technologies are in the best place to scale.
The biggest challenge for CDR in the next 2 years is the next wave of buyers coming in to buy carbon removal credits.
The key thing we need is the demand signal. That means companies who are willing to make commitments in advance to buy CDRs at scale to enable them to happen.
The big risk is that those buyers don't appear, and venture capital investors are already pretty skittish about the future of this market.
And as an industry, we have the obligation then to support the scale up of that by financing the transition.
Lean in. So this means buyers really deploying catalytic capital early when it might feel slightly uncomfortable, and helping these suppliers get to credit readiness and issue credits which help give the market the confidence it needs to say this is not a cottage industry, but this is actually the next $1 trillion industry, and that's what Europe needs to do.